Welcome everyone to the first episode of Uncensored on Unlimited, where I give my uncensored opinions on the world of professional wrestling on the Wrestling Unlimited YouTube channel. And today I discuss why Jay Lethal has had a better world title reign than CM Punk's WWE title reign. And I can already hear all the internet marks typing away in all capital letters in the comment section about how I don't know what I'm talking about, making outrageous threats, and please, for the love of God, leave my family alone. They do not have anything to do with this. Please do not come and hurt them. They are innocent. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this on a series of bullet points, starting with length. Length, Punk has the advantage, 434 versus 377 and counting. But quantity does not necessarily equal quality. Yes, in some situations it does. In some situations you can say, well, his world title reign was better because it was far longer. I'm not going to argue that Jay Lethal's world title reign is better than Samoa Joe's because Samoa Joe held the Ring of Honor world title for 645 days and no one has touched that since. You will not be hearing me say Jay Lethal is the best world champion of the last 25 years. That is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that Jay Lethal is the best world champion in professional wrestling since Samoa Joe. And he is the guy in Ring of Honor right now. And CM Punk was never the guy in WWE, even during his title reign. Now let's go to the second point, and that is quality of matches. That's relatively even to a point. Now, the first portion of CM Punk's title reign was littered with classic matches and great performances from him and his opponents. From his world title defenses against Dolph Ziggler, to WrestleMania against Jericho, to Extreme Rules against Jericho, to the series of matches with Daniel Bryan. And then it kind of fell off from there. It kind of veered from there. He got into situations where the quality of matches fell, except for a few spots. And that was mostly because after Bryan, he had a small program with Cena that also, sadly, most of it involved the Big Show. And then he feuded with Ryback, a guy who was in the company less than a year at that point. Yes, he was in the Nexus as Skip Sheffield, but as Ryback, he was there less than a year, and he was put in a feud with the longest reigning WWE champion of the last 25 years. And you expect me to think that that CM Punk's title reign was being viewed as legitimately comparable to a Hogan? When you put him in there with guys green as goose shit, who can't wrestle their way out of a paper bag, and who, even though he can't wrestle his way out of a paper bag, WWE doesn't have the sense to put CM Punk over him? And then he drops it to a guy who's had 2 matches since 2004, and then loses again to the same guy who's now had 3 matches since 2004. And you expect to have this title reign viewed as the all-time great that they try to portray it as, or they tried to portray it as. And then you have Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor. You have a guy who, at Best in the World 2015, went in as a long-reigning ROH World Television Champion and beat Jay Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title and hasn't looked back. He's defended it against the likes of Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Colt Cabana and Michael Elgin, and you name them, he has defended it against them and made that person and himself in the match look like $1,000,000, and that's the job a world champion is supposed to do. That is what the world champion of a company should do. The world champion of a company should go into matches leaving him and his opponent looking better for it. In no way, shape, or form did that happen with CM Punk, because 90% of the time during his title defenses, either him or his opponent came out looking either the same or worse. And that is not CM Punk's fault. CM Punk is one of the best competitors in the wrestling business of the last 20 years. But you cannot sit here and tell me, looking at both title reigns, that CM Punk's is better than Jay Lethal's. And now let's look at the way they were presented. The way that Jay Lethal and CM Punk are presented is, I think, ideally the same by both companies, but one veered off track. One severely veered off track. At the beginning, CM Punk was being presented as this phenomenal, just technical wizard in the ring who could not be bested no matter what. But then you had the heel turn, which, though pulled off brilliantly, turned him into a champion who needed everyone's help to retain at every turn. He couldn't do a thing for himself after July. He couldn't do a thing on his own. He needed Paul Heyman. He needed the Shield. He needed Brad fucking Maddox. And you expect that to be viewed as a legitimately great world title reign when you need Brad Maddox to help. And now let's look at Jay Lethal. Yeah, he has Truth Martini. He has Taylor Hendricks. But you know, when push comes to shove, it's Jay Lethal getting the job done. It's Jay Lethal doing the hard work. It's Jay Lethal getting it done in the ring. Yes, he has the House of Truth, but they have seemingly played no factor in the finishes of any of his world title matches. He has done it all based on his own merit, based on what they're presenting. They're presenting him as the most legit competitor they have. He is being presented as an unbeatable champion and has been for 377 days and counting. His slogan has become, and it is very apropos, there's no one left. And that is how you should present a designed long reign as champion. As at a point, there being no one left. And that CM Punk's title reign, though long it was, there was plenty left. And it was left on the table with nothing done with it. And now let's go to the place where it will shine clear. Jay Lethal is the superior world champion, and that is placement on the card, which, though some people don't think, it is very important to world champions where it is placed on the card. CM Punk didn't even main event the show to win the title. He co-main evented because The Rock and John Cena versus The Awesome Truth deserved the main event in WWE's eyes. Now, he main evented maybe a handful of shows on pay-per-view during his entire title reign. He main evented TLC in 2011, and then that was about it till he started feuding with Cena and Ryback. And he was playing second fiddle to John Cena, and it turned into third fiddle to John Cena and Ryback. Because if you look at the spring and beginning of the summer of 2012, you will see that in every pay-per-view, Ryback squash matches go after Punk's WWE title defenses. Now, what does that say about the way they're presenting him? What does that say about how they want him to be perceived? What does that say about the quality of the title reign? If you're being positioned behind squash matches, how can you say that this title reign is the best of the last 25 years? You can't. Now let's look at Jay Lethal. Every single pay-per-view or internet pay-per-view, because Ring of Honor does more internet pay-per-views than they do traditional pay-per-views. Every single one of those shows that Jay Lethal has defended his title on, he's main evented. He has been the main event, the last one to go on. He has been presented on posters, on advertisements, on marketing as the attraction, whereas during Punk's title reign, it was John Cena who was presented as the attraction, not CM Punk. So that, in a nutshell, is why Jay Lethal and his Ring of Honor title reign is better than CM Punk and in his WWE title reign. Now, if you would like to present counter arguments to what I have just said, please leave them in the comment section. But I really don't think there is an argument to be made. Until next time, keep being uncensored.